Welcome in, welcome in. I always give the pause now. I'm trying to let my stuff play, my editing. So yeah, welcome in. Glad to have everybody. Appreciate you. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you, Rumble, for the watches coming more frequently. I took some of the stuff I had already used somewhere else and really put it on Rumble in the future. So man, I uploaded stuff from Rumble, I think through the 15th of the month, and just had to get that going because I noticed my watches are going up there. And I said in a former video I had to give a lot of attention to it, but I got to get a lot of attention to you all for coming in, watching, participating, being part of. Appreciation galore. Really appreciate it. The things that you do, the things that you guys say, just the ones who get back to me, sending messages, doing all these great things that we have participated in, right? I just really want to thank you and definitely shout out to you for being part of. I really appreciate y'all. You guys are really awesome. The ones who really stay connected, the ones who watch, the ones who comment, the ones who text, even go on social media and send me messages. Appreciate you, appreciate you, appreciate you. I appreciate them who even, when you start being a teacher, and like I told you my history, if you don't know, it goes back. I used to teach and do all that stuff out of the traditional church, but it was more metaphysical Christianity, loosely, but not directly Gnostic, but very variations of definitely Gnosticism in there when you start breaking down Revelations and starts realizing not making the stories historical, but make them integrated to the within of who you are, that these stories are really talking about something to relate to you in the inner, in the esoteric, and not the exoteric. Not the esoteric, in the exoteric. One more time. The within, not the without. The up, not always the down. But not that we can't travel these, but because when you get established, and that's kind of when we're going to get in here, how do you establish yourself within and it reflect without? Because it does. We talk about reflections, fractals here. I'm going to go in. This is definitely somewhat a series I'm doing. Going to be a little different than some of the others. We can call it off the cuff. I will share some stuff, not videos, not with other people, some stuff I put together because I've been in my journey recently. I've known stuff about stuff. What I mean by that, I know about the Hermetic system, revelations. We've talked about Gnosticism right here. We talked about walking the walk and being initiated within, and all these Hermetic orders, right? What is the Hermetic principles? We haven't dived into that yet. That will come down the lane because what I'm doing right now is diving into something I knew about, but really never participated in to know fully integration of what it was and how it impacts us and practicing it, or even really having more than just I know about it. I know it's true because I knew it was part of what we're connected to when I put it order of revelating knowledge. As you start paying attention to yourself within yourself, there's an integration of connection with all, right? You're connected. We talk about that. We have a connection with all beings, all things, with all is self, then all is self. That means those who you don't see that maybe teed you off, they had a prospect maybe in your life or a significant something to get something out of, or even challenge you on how to remain certain ways and not overreact, whatever it may be that you need, right? Not all things are namaste, and not all things are what we think and how we think, but it can create that because there's a yin and a yang, right? There's this dualistic plane of dualities always. When you got one side, there is always another side. When you got greed, you have a negative side of greed. You'll have a positive side of greed. You say, how? This is something we have to see. You have the negative side of, like many people associate black and white as being, evil and righteous, when really when we understand black has nothing to do with being evil. In the occultic mindset, it has nothing to do. It's actually the organic of everything. There's this very Sufi, which is Muslim. Sufism would be Gnosticism is to Christianity. It's a spiritual meaning. They're not taking things literal and historic to create a bunch of, as we see, outside of themselves. War, famine, killing, no mercy, judging, and all the stuff that goes with it. We're better than you because we're this. All the stuff that we see outside ourselves. Sufis are like Gnostics in that aspect of that. And one of the stories was about the dark woman. And many people would tell, oh, that's a dark woman, that's skin color. No, it's not. It has nothing to do. The dark woman represents the dark womb within, where everything comes from, the nothingness. And this is even more and more what we're seeing. But we're going to get into some stuff today that is definitely, to me, eye-opening, and definitely can give you structure of how you build yourself up. And what I really realized when we look at chaos, right? And I always looked at chaos and the negativity of it is, but I also know there's a positivity to chaos. Now, I'm not talking about the chaos that creates order by chaos outside of ourselves. I'm talking about chaos within itself will bring another structure to change a structure anywhere. Even what we see is ocean beating up against the rocks, and the rocks start changing, right? Starts diminishing or starts scraping off, or things start changing within areas and land from chaos. Earthquake comes, you have some things change through the process of the earthquake. There's a change, but it's chaotic, right? It's chaotic. The change with a and the change that comes from that. That would even be in the fact of having volcanoes, right? Volcanoes will rumble and then spew and create havoc or chaos, but restructure the reality around them. So that would be positive. Doing it to gaslight us, that's the negative, and you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, so I do got to share the screen. Let's get it. We're going to talk about something I love and I put together because I'm going to be honest, revelating like a mofo, if I could use that term. We're going to talk about something that I've been delving in and have been looking at through my deep dive of learning alchemy in what is alchemy? We know it's alchemical, right? Think about alchemical. All things have an alchemical aspect to them. They do, all things. Go get a periodic table. Let me tell you a little bit about alchemy, though. When we talk about changing metals into more higher metals, that was a code word from changing your lower consciousness, physical realm into your higher self, spiritual realm, by the inner alchemy. When we were told about alchemy, not saying that nobody does it, that'd be like saying nobody participates in exoteric stuff. We see it. Go to church, go to the mosque, nothing but exoteric. Go to the temple, exoteric, right? Think about it. So there are people that would use the lab and maybe do some work by combining something. And this is what alchemy does. It combines something, it reduces it and gets rid of the dross. Well, kind of like your trials of your faith by fire. The trial of faith by fire will make you into pure gold. That's why I'm telling you, gold, fire's a cleanser. And then in the esoteric, they're telling you're going to burn there forever and ever. No, it's esoteric. You give me exoteric. Fire is a cleanser. It's a cleanser. So it reduces something. And then when you reduce something and you don't need the extra stuff that goes with it, when you combine two elements together like fire, water, earth, and air, fire and earth, wind and water, right? You create another reality of something that you combine together to synthesize it, to create and bring a harmonious, and then harmonize it to bring a create something that now isn't so much a lower value of dividedness. The inner alchemy is the esoteric alchemy. The other was the exoteric. Get it? Similar to, and a lot of times these people who are doing this, who are teaching this, had to do it. But what we're doing this day, they had to do it because they were worried about a group that was looking for them to stop that because they had power and wanted to keep things on their level so they can keep a control system going. Come on now. All roads lead to fill in the blank. Yeah, that definitely has its part in it, amongst others. But through this, I'm understanding, and I've been really the last 2 days revelating like a mad dog of the connectedness of the higher planes and how this starts working through the alchemical values and how the alchemicals reacting and putting it together and the within connection from the cosmos or the lower levels of division and dividing to take us out of the third degree. Think about it. This goes with it before I get into this. Come on now. This is my off the cuff. We're revelating like mad dogs. We're going in today. So think about that. In the lower levels, when you're walking in your 3D ego self, and the ego's your leader. It's really just your monitoring. It's your level of even. Ego will give you a fake discernment. It's only protecting itself because it really gravitates to fear in the third dimension. When an unharnessed, untrained, undisciplined ego, we call it egotistical, right? Which can go into other aspects of narcissism and stuff. There's less freedom. Talk about being free. You have less free will in the lower realms. So that's why in the lower realms you have a bunch of more cosmic laws that are connecting to you, creating, which creates, right? Links into you by operating from that realm and doing the things you do in that realm, doing the things we do from that realm, could also be connected to ancestral, your last lives. So what does it do? It keeps you really heavily in a karmic merry-go-round or a karmic Ferris wheel of repeat and repeat. Repeat and repeat. Repeat and repeat. Always rebooting you into levels, third and fourth dimensions of get on the Ferris wheel, because you will go, but you will come back. So when we harmonize more and create ourselves into these aspects alchemically within, we start rising, and the more we rise in our consciousness to the next level of who we are, right? I mean, this is beautiful stuff. It opens up more free will to us. It opens up more free will to make decisions that you need to make. It opens up more free will to say, this election selection, I don't participate from the 3D level that you're trying to pull crap. Come on now, 3D level. I always say get your popcorn, get your seat, get your popcorn, and get your soda, because the show's on. It's a FlexNet, but you have the power to say, I don't choose this. I don't consent. So you don't participate. The more you start harmonizing your lower self and starts raising into creating this and creating avenues that start activating yourself. And this is what we're going to get to. So think about what I said. I'm just setting the tone setting the tone, right? What do they call us in the Old Testament? They call it the Day of Atonement, really, and they would, there we go with blood again, right? Sacrifice, atonement. But these levels of purification and atonement are attunement. The higher you go, you start attuning to yourself in a higher vibration. And what does it do? You come through these trials that are actually purifying your consciousness from the lower levels, like the alchemical did. When you restructure alchemical, after you combine them, you reduce them, you restructure them, you get rid of the extra, which would be the extra that you don't need, would be you're getting rid of the lower thinking and mindset to have more free will. Bang. So listen to that. I'm calling this the great marriage. It is your journey to oneness. Sorry about that. That oneness definitely spelled wrong. Marriage may be too, but I like matrimony better. So let's start. I made a little list of something I'm going to kind of go over. The great matrimony of intellect and intuition. This is the great marriage. This is kind of this first processing that you go through. As you start activating, because your intellect is the other side of your brain, your intuition's the other side. One's definitely intellect would go with the place of logic. Everything's logical. Think about anybody really pay attention to sport and notice in sports that every sport now is connected to analytics and everything they do. They took away the gut feeling of the coaches and managers in these different sports. Everything's run by the logical mind in sports now, analytics. That would be if you measure everything by your intellectual mind, you will not, it is not your intuition. Everything's logic, does not activate the other side of your brain. But the great marriage is the matrimony of intellect and intuition, harmonizing into integration, the marriage of one, where you have these two forces who are very opposite, feminine and masculine. Left brain, right brain, hemispherical, right? The marriage creates a connection of two becoming one, has an opposites now, not opposing. I don't know why not long is there. Shouldn't be, but not opposing each other. We'll just stop there. Forgive me for that. I should have got rid of that. They're now, I could say, not opposing each other no longer. How about that? That's probably what it was meant to say. These two forces, which were really the opposites in 3D, they do not harmonize. They go up. That's why there's so much arguing, dissent, and division in the lower realm of the 3D reality. Always chaos, always. And then it's played on it through who wants power to even ramp it up by giving you extra. The northeast, west, and south. Put those together and you'll know what I'm talking about. North, east, west, and south. Put that to make that a word, you'll know what I'm meaning, in causing more chaos by just harping on stuff to create more. As I was saying the other day, actually last night, talking to somebody in a conversation, I said, think about what we get in the media and on TV and all these shows, how it's just always negative, verse, this, pick this side, do, and then we go, oh, this is the upside down world now, right? People will say, they're just like, what do we believe? What do we do? We don't know. It's that chaos from that level, and then added chaos, right? For purposes. But what if we had a cable channel that we showed how people actually, they push the negativity, to be honest. 110, 120, 130, undeniable. We discern it all. I'm here to tell you, we talk here a lot about knowing occultism, which is hidden. But what we're doing here is demystifying and de-occulting the hidden now, because this is what's happening now, the age. We're demystifying and de-occulting, reverse engineering all the chaos and that which was hidden, and now like this different stuff we bring here, that's the uncensoring. We're taking it out of the demystify and the occultism into, here it is, here's the knowledge that was hidden from you for ages and dispensations, and right, hidden, purposely hidden from you. We freely give it. We give it. We're just giving it to you. So think about when this marriage of these two opposing aspects of yourself, logic and intuition, these two get married. And now as they get married, they be integrated would be the type of them integrating into one. The two become one, the great marriage in alchemy. This is the first great marriage in alchemy, is a matrimony of the intellect and to intuition, into them not being opposing each other and going, this box, logic, intuition, logic, intuition, but saying, hey, we can come together and be the best of both, integrated to create a oneness in this level. And if we create a oneness, you're looking at higher self and higher being going to the next level. Frequency changes, understanding changes. Think about it. Creating, watch, but integrated to function in a harmony and balance. The old saying, the two now become one, like a marriage, right? This is, watch this, this is alchemy of within, creating an elevator for us to integrate to the higher frequency or higher self, right? Integrate self to a higher frequency of self. You're creating a vibrational change of harmonizing yourself. Notice the word harmonizing, very much a musical term, right? Even playing harmony, they know how to harmonize good. When you get multiple singers singing together, you go, oh, they harmonize well. They're creating a oneness now with their opposites. Even thinking about tune, vibration, and singing and music, you got men seeking tenor and women and singing bass, and you got sopranos and altos over here, but they're creating a one huge sound that integrates with each other when it's good in the integration level and produces what? One great song or frequency. This is what we're doing with self in the aspects of when we get the great matrimony of intellect and intuition starts to harmonize within ourselves. This is a great marriage. This is a great coming together. This is when two opposites, feminine and masculine, now don't oppose each other and want to be different and want to be like the other one. And the one wants to be like the other one. They don't oppose no more. What they do is they connect and work in harmony. What? Together. The two became one. And I'm telling you, this is alchemy. This is the inner alchemy. This is esoteric alchemy. How can you change yourself from the lower 3D human into the higher self where, hey, you're more than human. That's just the lower thoughts that you have that you're just a human. Think about this, because I'm going to bring this out. The connection of this, what I just said, exactly. I'm always getting them breadcrumbs, those cracker crumbs, leading us to the next level of what that I said, to even a video, even a teaching of something showing you that aligning yourself, a will alignment, right? A tune-up, attunement. This is attuning you up and aligning you up to a oneness within yourself. The lower realms go in the sky. I've been talking about maximum fragmentation of division, even within ourselves, right? From coming to the light to this realm of going into a density, the lowest density of self, right? Higher frequency, the next level of higher self to be connected to this process from an activation starts and continues. So there's an activation of this marriage, of this intellect and logical, where they no longer boot each other, but now you get logic even in things of even now. Higher reasoning comes with the higher intuition. Higher reasoning, not lower reasoning, out of intuition, but now understands, logic now understands that he can go to a higher self by connecting to the feminine aspect of intuition. Because intuition, feminine aspect, is always going to bring you up to a higher self. Why? It's got a connection. It's Wi-Fi. The motherly or the feminine aspect sees all children in need. The logic sometimes tells you, hey, don't let that person come over no more because they're up to no good. There's a balance in that, right? Even in your children, you can't treat your children in the motherly aspect of they're 2 years old when they're 16. even younger than that. Why? Because the opposite of good mothering is smothering. Feminine aspect. When a mother becomes the smother, she's taking away your oxygen and your free will. When the father is not available, he becomes farther distance away. You hear what I'm saying? He's farther away. He's not around. Kind of goes with my song with Pink Floyd. The daddy left. The school went nuts and was programming the kids in The Wall, the song, which again, thank you for the watches, man. The Wall is taken off. That decode of that song, The Wall, went next level, went viral. It did. It went very, very deep, which I definitely appreciate. Very deep. Very, very deep. I'm telling you, this is alchemical wedding on a level of the connecting of intuition with logic, right? Because we've been operating so much in logic, right? That thinking of that left brain thinking, right? And then pushing the feminine, because the feminine's been squashed by a long time by the patriarchal. It just didn't start 300 years ago. That's been going on for a long time. And a lot of people want to praise older like things of having the feminine or the matriarchal, like even with Egypt. Egypt wasn't always matriarchal. They had their problems. They went patriarchal. They had wars and stuff. So stop making something seem like it was always just perfect, because it wasn't. Come on now. This is every aspect from Sumer to Egypt to this divide is actually there. Chaos does create. It even changes structure. The chaos we're looking at is done, it almost becomes a welding weapon with it. And that's why you always hear me talk about one thing is what did you do with the knife? What did you do with the gun? Did you use it to protect yourself? For defense in case? Or did you just go kill somebody in cold blood? The gun's not the murderer. The person is. Come on now. Let's wake up, quit playing the putts with these mindsets from the 3D. The 3D mindsets. The 3D mindset, this is part of the raising. When your intuition and the logic, the attraction of both sides, the hemisphere and the right, left hemisphere, come into this place of unity and oneness, right? I'm going to close the screen here. Of unity and oneness. Now there's an attraction, not a repelling. There was some repelling before. But now as you open up your intuition, it starts to show the logical. How to get their information? That's not logical without knowing first and doing the work. That's logical mind. You got to have the proof before you get the pudding. Intuition says, I got the pudding first. The proof may come later. The evidence may come later, but I know. Don't ask me how I know, but I know that I know. And it's not logical. But when the logic opens up and the intuition become one, even the logical raises to higher reasoning. Bang, high five to y'all, if you get this. What am I saying today is this is part of the aspect of how we raise. Are we going up the ladder? Going to the higher states of consciousness where there's less duality or division, where we start seeing a oneness, a unity consciousness, Christ consciousness, and unity consciousness, Christ consciousness, and oneness, all are saying the same thing. And a shout out, because I was going through my watches through where they're coming from, and I found out 50% of people who really watch me are in India. And I was like blown away. Thank you, India. Hi. Thank you, India. When I say Christ consciousness, you necessarily don't have to be Jesus, because the first Christ in the story, when you know language, is Krishna. In the Greek is the same word as Christ, is what we have in the New Testament or Christianity. And actually, as I know, India's connection to Krishna and Hinduism is way more ancient. We've talked about Abraham and Brahman, how you just add an A to Brahman and you get Abraham, and how we had Saraswati, the feminine aspect in Hindi, and then there's Sarah in the Abrahamic religions. Guess which was first? The Hindi one, by a long time, many years. It's not a millennium, right? And I could be wrong exactly on the years, but it's a long time. So one copied the other. Guess which? It's only obvious. It doesn't matter, because these ancient societies would take truths, paint them in stories. And whatever story fit your culture, the names might change. Enoch could be Inky or Enlil or Inky, right? It was Inky then he becomes Toth. Then it becomes Trismegistus 3 times? Trice? Megistus? Because this is how you would pattern something, and they didn't look at it the same. Even mythology in the old days doesn't mean what we look at it as now. We look at it as a lie, not true. The mythology was within you, you would find the Christ. Within you, you would find the Christ or Krishna. Within you, you'd realize that this is happening within you. For the kingdom of God is within you. Why do you keep looking outside yourself? Because once you start on knowing the within, it expands without. But when you go without to get within, don't work. Doesn't work that way. The out was a reflection of the in. And that's how it actually works when you understand this. But you guys have a great day. We're going to follow up with some really good videos, man. So shout out to The Alchemist. Man, Sarah's teaching, I'm going to take it. Has blown me away into really understanding alchemy. I've been hammering alchemy the last 3 weeks. In the last weekend, I started revelating to deeper. That's why I created this today. I put this together. I was seeing how this happens and this happens and this works. This alchemy, this chemical, when you put this level, how do you integrate this parts of ourselves together? Because remember, it's all the same pole. Everything's the other side of it. Higher consciousnesses. The lower consciousness, when we say it, is still us. Sometimes we get stuck in it. It's still us. Actually, you have to have a good foundation. You have to, ground? The grounding is the foot. The foot is even in the bottom of the foot. What do they call it? The sole. Ooh, think about that. What do they call the bottom of your foot? The soles of your feet? You're going, what? And always in esoteric meaning, when you said feet, it always represents your understanding where you stand. So you guys have a great day. Appreciate you. Love you. Share, like, and comment. Please. Anybody else, Adam, I'd totally appreciate that.